Welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Stream Movie Show. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick. Welcome back to the world famous Bottom of the Stream podcast. We are here. It is Thursday, and as we do every Thursday, we dive down to the bottom of the Netflix stream looking for hidden gems.
Certainly do.
For you to watch.
We do indeed. This week we didn't do the diving.
We did not.
This is a wild card week.
Yes, a wild card week. That means one of our Patreons has selected the movie this week, because if you join our Patreon, then you get to choose a movie once a season.
You do indeed, and if you pick the best one, you will win a prize.
Indeed.
Currently, one of them is at the top of the stream. The only other one played this season is number one.
Yeah, it's number one in our current stream table.
It is indeed.
Was played by Alex.
It was indeed, and this one is being played by Ross Cook.
Yeah.
And he has selected a movie called 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes was released on January the 19th, 2024. It is 41 days young.
Oh, my days. Oh, my 41 days.
It must be the most recently released film that we've ever done.
It's a film that's still on the teat.
Yes, it very much is still on the teat. It is a 15. It runs for 1 hour and 28 minutes. Is a 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb and is a Netflix original. 5.7?
Okay.
Higher end.
Yeah.
But not
it's
the
early
highest
days.
of ends.
It's not going to have had many reviews.
No,
though, one would assume.
This film is German. It's our second trip to Germany this season.
It is.
How many times have we been to Germany before that? Not many.
I would take, in total, four maybe.
4 or 4.
4 or 4. 4 or 4.
Not 5, not 3. 4 or 4. This movie stars Emilio Sakraya. He plays Octavio. You might recognise him. He's in Warrior Nun.
I've seen Warrior Nun.
So you might recognise him from that.
He
also doesn't have bleach blonde hair in real life, so you might not recognise him. Because in this movie, he has bleach blonde hair. This film also stars a guy called Dennis Moden. He plays Paul. And Marie Mouroum plays Cosima.
Okay.
Written by Philip Koch and Oliver Kienle. And directed by Oliver Kienle. Both have directed and written stuff before, but it's all German stuff that I don't think you would recognise.
Cool.
Do you, Nick, have a one-word review?
I do.
Of 60 Minutes.
Before I tell you what it is, can I tell you a rejected one?
Yes.
And my
I love that I'm getting options of one-word reviews. That's 2 weeks in a row.
My rejected one-word review was Run, Octa, Run, because I do feel this movie is quite influenced by a very famous German movie, Run, Lola, Run.
It is indeed.
But that is my rejected option. My official one-word review is Octopussy.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I give you that.
Works on 2 levels.
It does work on 2 levels. That's good. I really like that one. Shall we talk about the potential real-time aspect of this movie before we start? So the other movie's obviously called 60 Minutes. It runs for an hour and a half. So not all of it is in real time. But we believe that they've tried to do some of it in real time.
Yeah. I would say about
60 minutes of it.
I was going to say about 15 minutes into this movie.
Yeah.
And there's 5 or 6 minutes at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it quite is there, but that's certainly what they're attempting.
Gives it a good go.
Where does this movie start, Nick?
In a city.
It does.
Which we will soon find out is Berlin.
It is Berlin.
And my first note says, a muscle man has tattoos.
My first note says half-naked man writes birthday card.
My second note is, he writes a card to Leone.
He does. He's trying to write a birthday card to Leone. He writes Dear Leone, and that's as far as he gets.
Yes. Because he's trying to come up with something clearly
sweet and nice.
Meaningful.
It's clearly a birthday card for a child.
Yes.
And we later find out it's his daughter. But before he gets a chance to finish writing this birthday card, he gets pulled away to do some training.
We're at a sparring gym.
We are
an MMA training gym.
He's an MMA fighter. This is why he's half naked and a muscle tattooed man. He gloves up and then he goes to train with a woman and a dude.
Yep.
Because he has a big fight.
We will get to this in the now and the forthcoming couple of minutes, because I was so confused about the arrangements for this fight.
Same. It makes no sense.
None whatsoever.
No.
So essentially, this guy has turned up for work because he co-owns this gym.
Yes.
but he's also in like training camp in preparation for this fight. And it's his daughter's birthday.
Yes.
But it seems to me that he is surprised on the day by the fact he has to go and fight tonight.
Tonight is even a weird choice.
In the next
soon
hour.
Yes.
As he's getting ready to go home.
Yeah. The time, I'll come to the timings of this film later on, but yeah, it was very confusing that he didn't appear to understand that his fight had been scheduled on his daughter's birthday, also that he'd got a fight to do at all.
Yeah, or that there was this sort of question as to whether this fight would be happening or not.
Yes.
And now suddenly they've got the go-ahead, yes, we need to go and get... But we'll
his
talk about it in a minute. They get to a full-on arena.
Yeah.
Like,
full of
this
people.
This isn't like a backyard.
No, this is a famous
underground
fight. There's posters for it all over the city. This is like a big, big fight.
But Octa, the whole thing is like, oh, it's happening then. What's going on here? We're so confused.
I don't know, because he gets told that his opponent had been stuck in traffic and that's why the fight is not at the time that he was expecting it to be.
But you'd already be at the arena.
Yes.
It's happening today.
Yeah,
these are professional fighters.
Yeah.
There's like a full-on UFC style event going on.
There's a whole arena full of people there.
Yeah.
There's people betting an awful lot of money on this fight. It's all very strange.
Meanwhile, he's still telling his daughter, I will be home.
I will be home.
I'm going to bring your cake. I'll be there before your birthday party's finished.
At 6 p.m, I will be there.
Yeah.
So this fight is happening a long time before 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 p.m.
Yeah, something like that.
And what appears also to be a weekday, because there's people going to work and stuff around it. The time is very odd in this movie.
Yeah.
There's also at one point a nightclub full of people at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so yeah, he calls his daughter. He tells her he'll be there. He's actually also promised her the best cake in the world.
Yeah.
Which he will bring with him.
And he's got a present.
And he's also got a present that she isn't aware of what it is.
And Leonie, who's clearly been let down previously, says,
yeah.
I'm not sure I believe you're coming.
Yeah, I don't think you're really going to come.
Yeah.
He's promises her that he will definitely come.
I've just got to finish work, which is essentially go and have this MMA fight in front of thousands of people.
Yeah. Then the lady who he was training with earlier, who is, I think her name's Kasima.
Yeah.
She comes in because she wants a pay rise. And he's like, I don't really deal with the money side of things.
He says that's Paul. He's the
Paul's
business
my business
partner.
I need to talk to him. But I need you to look at this picture of a cat. So he shows her a cat picture on his phone. I was like, this film is so weird. But it turns out this is the present he's brought for his daughter. Yeah. It's a cat called Onion.
I thought it was a great name for a cat.
It is a great name for a cat.
Put there.
But you like naming cats after food sources.
Yeah, fair.
And then Paul turns up and they all get in Paul's car.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, apparently they're now going to the fight. Yeah. Because it's happening. So they've got a call.
Yeah.
And been told to get to the arena.
So still at this point, I was expecting them to be in a parking lot somewhere that's going to be 4 people there.
Yeah, like...
that people are betting.
I was thinking, it's going to be like...
Even though we had seen a poster previous to this.
I was thinking they're going to be in like car headlights. There's going to be a ring of cars.
That's exactly what I was expecting.
Shady gangsters chucking money in or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was expecting. And then they turn up at a stadium, which I can only describe as a stadium full of people.
I'll just say maybe for next week, anyone listening or in the Discord, I will put up a cash prize for anyone who correctly guesses the name of my food-based cat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it. Can I get involved?
No.
Can people who have met your cat get involved? Okay, let's just clarify those rules. Anyway, that's a good one. A cash prize. Ooh. I can be purchased, people in the Discord. They get to the arena. He asks Paul to go and pick up the cat whilst he's having a fight. Because I thought Paul was going to be at ringside with him, but apparently Paul's going to go and not even watch this fight and pick up the cat for him. And then he meets a guy who's bet on him. And this guy's a bit of a dick. In fact, Octo even calls him a prick.
Yeah.
He's like, he was in the fight zone.
Yeah.
He's like,
Paul, why are you introducing me to this guy? I don't care. I've got a fight to win.
Heads to the locker room, gets his wrists all strapped up. And then a woman calls him.
They stare. He sees his opponent down the corridor.
Yeah,
and they have a bit of a
stare off. He gets a call then from a woman. It turns out to be his daughter's mother, his ex-wife, girlfriend.
Yeah,
don't know.
What?
And he promises her he'll be there by 7.
She just disses him.
Yeah, she does. She's not happy with him. He should have been there all day.
And for now, this seems purely to give the film a time deadline.
Yeah.
She basically says to him, "You've got to be here by 6."
Yeah. Well, he says, to start with, he says, I'll be there by 7.
Yeah.
And then the time they'll be there by 6 comes later on. Because she says to him at this point, I'm done with all your shit. And she puts the phone down on him. So then Paul says to him, look, after the fight, let's get this fight out of the way. And then I promise I will personally drive you to your daughter.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine. So he gloves up, gets ready, makes his way out to the cage.
They start to do the walkout, yeah.
But he's always got his earphones in, like his Bluetooth earphones. And he gets a call from a guy called David, who we assume, or we then find out, is Mina's current boyfriend.
And also a lawyer.
And also her lawyer. And
you're allowed to do that if you're a lawyer.
I have no idea. Because in the 2 minutes since the phone went down, she's decided she's going to file for full custody and take his daughter away from him. Unless he's there by 6.
Totally arbitrarily, unless he's there with this cape by 6 o'clock.
You will never see your
daughter
again.
That's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah. It's fine until 6. We don't know what time it is at the moment.
No.
But if you're not there by 6, it's fine.
We do. We will do in a minute. We'll know.
Yeah. If you're not there at 6, it's fine. A minute after 6, you're never seeing your daughter.
Yeah.
A minute before, it's fine. And he's standing in the entranceway of this arena, ready to go out to the ring.
And the music's happening. You can hear the crowd.
His ring music's playing. The crowd are there. His opponent, I assume, is also already out in the ring. So he runs away.
The other way.
He runs in the opposite direction. He pushes a few people away on the way. One of them's a guy called Rico, who we meet later in the film.
Yeah. Who's like a Hell's Angel type guy.
Yeah, kind of a fan. He pushes everybody out of the way and he just leaves the arena. And as he walks out of the arena, he sets his watch that he's got on to a 60-minute countdown.
Yeah.
So, assumably, it's dead on 5 o'clock.
Yeah. And we get like a 24 style yellow
clock. And we get that quite a few times in this movie now. So, this fight was going to happen at 5 o'clock, presumably on a weekday, in the middle of Berlin.
But which he only got confirmed that the fight was going ahead
at maybe 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's such a weird premise.
Logistically, this is all over the place.
Yeah. It's like they've decided, well, you can't have a kid's party in the evening, so we're going to make everything else in the afternoon. When it would have been so much easier to just make it the kids' party in the evening.
But in my brain, I was like, just because of the weird way my brain works, I was just like, what kind of shoddy organisation is not telling him that his fight's going ahead until an hour before? You'd be there 3-4 hours before the fight in his dressing room, prepping, warming up.
Yeah, it's
what is this?
It's so bizarre. So he leaves the arena. He set his watch to 60 minutes. We now know. We believe this is the point where the film goes into real time.
Yeah.
And people start chasing him. He's like running through the streets, getting away. And there are people chasing him. We don't know who these people are at this point.
Yeah, there's a group of people sort of, and Paul rings him and said, "Come back." Yeah. Where are you going?
He gets a voicemail. He's always got these Bluetooth headphones in, which he can voice control and also take calls on, listen to calls on, send voice messages. It's like this guy lived in the future. It's like he had an Alexa in his head. He then steals an Uber, or steals somebody's Uber.
Yeah.
He gets in the... He doesn't take the car. He gets in the car with the driver while the other guy's trying to get through. And the driver eventually decides to take him with him.
Yeah.
But however, it is rush hour because it's 5 o'clock.
And he turned around... The Uber driver turns around the corner and goes, "Oh, it's market day as well." Yeah, there's a market on as well.
He explains that it's rush hour, turns the corner, and he doesn't get stuck in traffic. He gets stuck in market.
Yeah, as in the road shot, there's market stalls there.
But it is 5 o'clock. Famously, most markets have already finished by 5, but we'll let the film have that.
You can have a night market. It might be a Christmas market.
Might be. Paul then rings him. So what I'm trying to get to is that he's always going to be having conversations in this movie, but he's always on his own. So every conversation that he's had is happening through these earphones. So Paul calls him. He says, "Look, you've got to get back here straight away. Literally get back." He's begging him to come back. Basically, Paul is. he leaves the Uber because he's not going anywhere.
I'm going to
runs. And people are still chasing him.
He's cornered by a group of guys who we kind of saw in the background. So he met when he was introduced to this dude in the halls of the arena. And we basically find out that this group had put a lot of money on Octa to win this fight.
$500,000.
Yeah.
Oh, €500,000 currency, euros.
I don't know if that was all put on by them, but that was like the total had been bet on Octa was $500,000.
So he does a bit of running, tries to escape, but eventually gets cornered in an alleyway.
Yeah.
And we see our first real fight of the movie.
But it's kind of... Actually, I quite like this fight because the gangster, is it Chino, says to his guys, fight him, put him out, but don't hurt him.
Yeah,
You've got to get him back to the arena.
He needs to go and do this fight.
Yeah.
Can't hurt him. So it's the little guy's called Chino. There's a bigger guy who's his brother, I think. I didn't catch his name. And then they've got unlimited goons.
Yes.
So they start fight. They have this big fight. It's 1 versus 10 in this alleyway, and Octo's fighting them all off.
They eventually subdue it.
Yeah, he fights most of them off, but eventually one of them gets to put him to sleep, and they put him in the back of a car. So they're going to drive him back to the arena because he needs to do this fight.
Oh, what we haven't said as well as the digital clock, we occasionally get a map of Berlin.
Yes, we do.
And it's got the planned route for Octa to get from the arena to his ex-wife's house. Yes. And we see how far he's progressed along the route.
And also how much he deviates off the route sometimes. Which I quite liked. I thought that was quite a good gimmick, to be fair. It kept you in tune of how far away he was and how much time he'd got left. Eventually, he wakes up whilst he's in the car and manages to fight 4 people whilst in the car.
Yeah.
Leaves the driver alive and manages to get out of the car, where he then fights a load more people in the alleyway. And whilst he's fighting these people, his mum rings him.
And she's like, what's happening today?
Yeah,
why can't we see our granddaughter?
Yeah, why can't I go and see Leonie? What's happening? And why she wasn't invited to this birthday party, I don't know.
Yeah.
But she because Paul's not gone, Octo's not gone, his mum's not allowed to go either. So he's like, look, I'll figure it out. I'll call you back. I'll find out. Don't worry about it. And then he calls Paul. Paul Bayer obviously is his business partner and friend. And it comes out during this conversation that the fight was rigged for him to win in the 3rd round.
Yeah, the other guy, his opponent was going to take a dive.
He was going to take a dive. So all these people would have won oodles amount of money. Yeah. And that's why they're chasing Paul and trying to Octo and trying to get him back in the ring. And at this point, it flashes up on the screen 52 minutes and 22 seconds.
Yeah.
So we're 8 minutes in. And Octo says to Paul, look, you're not safe there. These people are trying to kill me. You need to get out of there and run away as well. Because he's being chased again. And he manages to run.
Paul's still sort of saying, no, come back, or it'll be fine. It's not too late.
But Octo's worried for Paul now as well. And he runs all the way back to the gym where we started.
Yeah.
He gets there. Casima's already there waiting for him.
And then a couple of other athletes.
Trainers and people who are working there.
And he basically says, I need your help.
Yeah.
I'm being chased.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yes, we're going to have a
team battle.
Yeah, team battle of a fight.
And we do to an extent, because they get in. They manage to block the door shut.
But it's like 4-on-4.
But they get in and it's 4-on-4. So it's the big guy and 3 of his goons against Octo and 3 of his goons, basically. And there's a big fight in the gym.
Yeah.
And women are fighting men are fighting women.
Yeah, and there's heads bouncing off floors.
It's actually great.
It's really
a really good fight. All the fights in this are quite entertaining.
Was this one of my favourite? This was one of the highlights of the fights. I thought. The one in the gym. I like the one in the bakery later on as well, which is a bit shorter. But this is a good set piece.
Yeah. He manages to lock himself in the office with Cosima.
He does kind of leave his mates to it a bit.
He does, completely. He goes into the office. And for one point, he's just standing in the office watching. And I'm like, well, this is not really fair.
I think they're trying to get across is like, Octa is trying to decide.
He's trying to figure out what to do.
Does he help his friends or should he go and continue his...
He's
but
solely
it comes across like he's just...
standing watching them fight.
Yeah, watching his mates get beat up.
He's solely focused on getting to his daughter with a cake and a cat.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to do. So he says to Cosima, look, will you go and pick up the cake?
Yeah.
I'll go and get the cat and I'll meet you there. While this fight's still going on.
And she's like, yeah, fine. And then she goes back into the fight.
Yeah. So she kind of distracts him as he leaves through the window. And
this fight is kind of not petering out, but there is no one's getting the advantage.
No, it's just a fight for people who can fight.
Yeah.
48 minutes and 28 seconds.
I was just going to say, and then So the fight's not because no one's getting an advantage. The gangster guys are clearly getting pissed off.
Yeah.
This is holding us up. So the big guy fires a gun.
The big guy sees Octo go out the window as well, so he's like, fire the gun, stop the fight, job done. So they start chasing him again. They see him leave through the window, which he does quite a lot in this movie. He likes windows. So they start chasing him again, and he sees a cop car.
Yeah.
So he's like, could I alert the cops of what's going on?
Yes, surely that would help me.
That might help me out. So he knocks on the window of these two cops who don't roll down the window. They just talk about who's this knobhead knocking on our window.
And we can see the gangsters are sort of hanging back, but they're at the end of the road.
Like,
sort of, this is an interesting development.
Yeah. And then he gets run over by just a random pedestrian, random driver. And the cops get out and be like, what the fuck's going on? You're under arrest to Octo.
Well, no, he calls them clowns.
He does call them clowns for not.
Because he's like, why didn't you roll the window down? I'm trying to speak to you.
He gets arrested for being run over.
Yeah, and he's angry. Justifiably, though.
Yeah. These two cops were like bumbling movie cops.
Yeah, you're being weird. You're in the back of the car.
So he gets arrested and put in the back of a police car. 45 minutes and 40 seconds. The clock is clicking down. No, the clock is ticking down. So he's in the back of this car. The police, he's abusing the police. They're abusing him. Yeah. There's an argument going on, and then out of the Octo's viewpoint, we can see a Hummer speeding towards the car, and it takes the cop car out. And what was one of my favourite car crash scenes I've ever seen.
It came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere, and it was a really good effect. So yeah, the cop car's taken out by this Hummer. It's the main goon again, the big guy, and they have another fight in the street. Octo gets out of the car. The cops are still in the car.
He manages to disarm the guy.
He does. He gets the gun off him, and then he runs away. So he's not trying to fight these people. He wants to get away from these people so he can get to his daughter. So he disarms this guy and then just runs away from him. Just as he does that, the cops get out of the car and the big guy gets away as well in his Hummer.
They leave in the Hummer. Cosima calls and says, my card's been declined. I can't pay for the cake.
Yeah,
so
she does.
Octa's like, well, I'm going to have to come there now, aren't I? I must come to the bakery.
So he's going to head to the bakery. Paul calls him again in the meantime.
He says, please come back. We've still got time.
Yeah, there's still time to solve this. 42 minutes and 6 seconds is left on the clock. He then sends a voice message to Mina, who is his daughter's mother. And he apologises and he's like, look, please don't do this. I am coming. I will be.
He struggles. This was probably his best acting because he struggles to put the words together, doesn't he, of what he's trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he's at the cake shop, so he wasn't far away from it, if this movie is in as real time as he thinks it is. Cosima's still there waiting for him, and he pays for this cake. It's a lovely cake with a cat on.
And he catches her up. He says the fight was rigged.
Yeah. Whatever's going on.
This is what I found out since I last spoke to you.
This is why I'm still being chased now. And just as he says I'm still being chased now, these goons come in, the big guy again, with a couple more of his nondescript minions. And then the big goon, I feel like we should have got this guy's name, he's in it quite a lot, makes the biggest mistake of his life.
Yeah.
He smashes the cake out of Octo's hands.
And then my next note just says, Octa marmalizes the guy.
He beats the everlasting shit out of the guy.
They're throwing each other around this bakery. Yeah. There's just members of the public trying to desperately avoid.
It was quite funny because other goons were watching in the background. Cosima was standing watching in the background, but they were just letting these two go at it.
And I know this might sound like faint praise, but it's not when you consider the curve that we're grading movies on. We've said before, haven't we, when we've got like low budget movies in a setting, whatever that setting may be, like the building or the city feels dead, it feels empty because there's no extras. It's the things like that which in a normal movie, in inverted commas, you don't notice, but we've seen there's no one else in this shot or in this movie apart from the actors. But I felt like whether this was a bit of like guerrilla filming across the city, it felt like we were in a busy
this
city.
Was alive. There was a lot of people in that bakery.
Yeah.
The pedestrian, the guy driving the car came out of nowhere. There was even the market was bustling with people. You might be right; it might be guerrilla filming, but it did. Yeah, you're right. It did feel like this was happening. He beats the crap out of this guy, knocks this guy unconscious. His blood is everywhere. So he leaves. He's not looking to finish anybody off here. He just wants to get him to his daughter.
I thought he was going to kill this guy.
I thought he was going to. He was.
And Cosimo is almost like,
she thought he was going to kill this guy
out, so to speak.
So he just leaves. He leaves this guy bleeding out on the floor. And when he opens the door, there's 2 more goons outside waiting for him. And they kind of look in and then they start chasing him. So he's just constant. So he's constantly, if he's not running, he's fighting.
Yeah.
So he's running again. And then a guy drives past him. And this is the guy we met earlier on a motorbike.
Yeah.
This is Rico, who's a friend of his. It seems like he's been a long-term friend.
I don't think he's got the best line in the film.
Yeah.
He direct quotes Arnie.
He
Terminator himself. He says, "Come with me if you want to live."
So Octo gets on the back of this bike whilst it's still moving.
And
they get away.
We see the map.
Yeah.
And Octo is now making good inroads into this
he's making time.
route. Because he's on the back of a motorbike.
He is. And Rico says, look, Paul sent me to pick you up.
He's like, I'm going to drop you at the metro station. You get the rest of the way home.
My headquarters is at this opposite
like
subway station.
Our club's right next to the station.
He gets a call from Paul to say, look, it's over. You've been disqualified from the fight. You're not
late.
here. It's too late. This is over.
We're in
Fuck.
the
We're in the shit, basically. 37 minutes and 35 seconds is on the clock. The guy on the bike, Rico, drops him off at this headquarters, which is opposite a subway station.
Yeah.
But
in an underground car park.
But it's a trap.
Yeah.
He's been trapped by Rico. And he gets tied to a chair.
He says, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he does. Rico apologises to him. He apologises. He's like, look, sorry, man.
These are my bosses.
Yeah.
Basically. And
a lady turns up. An older lady.
Were they Russians?
I think she was Russian, yeah.
I think her and her man were...
She had an interpreter, didn't she?
Yeah.
She speaks Russian and he doesn't. So they tie him to a chair. She sits opposite him.
And these are the guys in charge of this whole setup.
Yeah. They rigged the fight, or they persuaded whoever to rig the fight. They're the ones who have been putting all this money
They
down.
put all the money on.
It's all their money. They're the ones who have been chasing him.
This is who the gangsters that we've seen so far. So Chino and the big. This is who they are answering to.
This is whose money they've lost. Yeah. So they're in trouble as well. Octo says, "Look, I've got no clue what is going on."
Yeah, because they're asking. They're asking him, "Who are you working for?
Yeah.
Why have you?" They think he's in on this, and he's trying to pull the wool over their eyes.
Yeah, but he isn't. He just wants to get him to his daughter.
So I have no idea this was all happening.
Yeah, so they start pouring petrol at his feet,
and they keep asking him questions. He doesn't change his answer.
No,
he says, "I genuinely don't know."
And then
I don't know what.
So she starts to ask him questions. She asks him. Well, he starts to tell her the full
He
story.
tries to
He's like,
explain
"Look,
the situation.
I'm trying to go into my daughter. It's her birthday. My ex is trying to take her away from me." Yeah. She wants to know the daughter's name, which he tells her the first name, but refuses to tell her the surname.
Yeah.
And then everybody just leaves.
Well, she says, because there's no. Did you watch the dub?
Yes.
So I flip between a bit, but there's no subtitles for the Russian.
No, she's got a man who's translating for her. So Octa can't understand this Russian woman, but so he's being in. He can only.
So I think she basically gets bored and goes, "We're not getting anywhere here."
Yeah.
Or he doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
So
they all just leave.
They go
and they just leave him tied to this chair in the garage, Covered in petrol.
But there's 2 guys lurking behind. So I think have they been told to?
I think they'd been told to finish him off. Yeah.
So to speak.
He flicked. The innuendo. So he flicks the button on his headphones and he sends a voice message to Paul, and saying, "Look, they're using me as bait." And as he says that, they start to attack him. So he knocks them both down.
He's still tied to the chair.
Still tied to the chair, and he runs.
And he fights them with it.
He fights with the chair tied, and then runs to the subway station, and through the subway station, and onto a train, all while still having a chair tied to his back.
Yeah,
might have been my favourite part of the film.
It was good.
So he gets on this train, and obviously all these people. Again, the train's full of people, and he's like
bleeding, stinks of petrol.
He's tied to a chair.
Yeah,
and they're like, "What the fuck?" So he's like, "Look, has anybody got any scissors or a knife or something?" Yeah. And this little girl says, "Is this you?" And she's got a video of the fight earlier on, and he's like, "Yeah." So then she says,
"So suggesting that this has gone viral." Yes. One of these many fights he's had in the streets of Berlin.
Something is going on, and she says, "Look, if you turn around, I'll cut you free." And she cuts him free from the chair.
And he sort of just sinks into the
subway
seat.
chairs, and then another lady gives him a bottle of water. I said that like the most English man ever. He downs that, and then he gets another call from his daughter, she's like, look, I know you're not coming. You're far too late.
She says, Mum says you're not coming.
Foul mood. And she puts the phone down on him.
He tries to say, I am coming. I'm on the way.
Yeah.
I've got your present.
But she hangs up on it.
I don't know how much of it she hears, yeah.
And then he almost falls asleep on the train. And I'm like, get with the program, mate. Come on.
I genuinely thought the twist was going to be, he was going to be safe, but he just missed his stop.
Like, falling asleep is a bit weird.
But everything goes a bit hazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
I mean, it has been beat up quite a lot.
Sure.
And then the train gets to where it needs to go. He gets off the train. And weirdly, there's more goons at the train station.
But one of the goons now is the guy he was supposed to fight.
Yes.
In the actual bout.
And he's just waiting for him at this random tube station that he's just got off at. And I'm like, this is weird. What is going on? How people
is that coincidence?
People are just appearing out of nowhere. It's almost like it was carrying the story on.
So he has to run again.
Yep.
And they chase.
And they do. They chase him through the subway. And he picks up this stool. And he absolutely clocks this guy. It was awesome. Yeah. I was like, fuck, that was amazing.
One of them
he
straight
picks
in
up
the
this stool and he just throws it at this guy and it just clocks him straight. And this guy took it like a champ as well. He went down. It was great. And then, bearing in mind, it is just gone 5:30. He runs into a nightclub full of people.
Yeah.
Like a rave is going on.
It's all neon and...
Yeah.
Yeah. Glow sticks.
It wasn't dark the last time we were outside. It has gone dark now, to be fair to it, but it is 5:30 in the evening. He has another fight in there. So the two guys who'd met him. So this was the guy who was supposed to be
his opponent,
and another random unnamed goon. He starts fighting the unnamed goon to start with. I've written here, I don't know why I've written this. I've put, he gets a bit stabbed.
He does get a bit stabbed. So he wins the fight in essence.
He throws a guy into a window, and it breaks the glass window.
Mirror. And the guy just in that sort of final, rising from the dead, manages to slash Octa across the stomach.
Yeah, gets up with a bit of glass, doesn't it, and stabs him. And the guy who Octa was supposed to be fighting,
Belko, that was his opponent.
Takes a bit of an exception to this because they're not supposed to be hurting this guy still.
No, and he knocks out his fellow goon.
And then
they fight up the stairs.
Yeah, they fight up the stairs and into like an area in a nightclub.
Yeah,
it was weird. It looked like the TARDIS. It was bizarre.
It was kind of like old warehouse / industrial vibe, wasn't it?
Yeah, with neon everywhere.
Yeah.
And they have a proper fight. They're just one-on-one.
Belko puts him down because Octa's been fighting for pretty much 40 minutes non-stop.
Yes. So they have quite a fight, and all the people from the nightclub are like circling. This is the circle fight I was expecting from the beginning.
Octa sort of drags himself back up. There's more to this fight.
Yeah.
It
was a good one-on-one.
It's the first real time he seems under.
Yeah.
Like he's at risk here. Until he just kicks Belko's head off.
He does.
Basically.
Literally beats the crap out of him again. He wins the fight, leaves the room. As he's leaving he leaves the club, and he kind of sits outside for a bit. And as he's leaving, he sees Paul just happens to turn
across the courtyard,
catches his eye. And he's like, how the fuck is he here? How does he know where I am?
Yeah.
And then he looks at his watch and realizes that earlier in the film, Paul connected Octo's watch to Paul's phone.
Yeah.
So Paul's been tracking him. And therefore, Paul's been fucking him over.
Yeah.
By revealing his location. And this all comes to him in an instant.
So he disconnects. As Paul's walking towards him, he disconnects
from the
Paul's phone.
And then kind of collapses to the floor.
Because he's bleeding. Bad.
He is bleeding. And Paul walks over to him. And Octo just looks up at him and says, I'm going to kill you.
You told them.
Like that. You told them where I am.
Paul tries to make some excuses. He tries to deny it, but it doesn't last very long.
I thought this was a really good scene between these two.
It was actually.
Paul genuinely looked terrified, and Octo genuinely looked angry. Paul tries to make some excuses of why he's done it, and Octo just looks up. He
says he does come across as desperate.
Yeah, he 100%. He's basically got no money left.
Paul says we could work with them.
Yeah,
we can pull this scam.
We might need to rig a few fights, but we need the money. And Octo just looks up at him and he says, "Run."
Yeah,
which I thought was great. Paul tries to talk him around. He's like, "Look, calm down, mate. It's fine. Don't worry about it." And he just looks at him and says, "Run," again, and it was great. We now got 17 minutes and 34 minutes left. 17 minutes and 34 seconds left. Paul does leave.
And Octa steals an electric scooter.
He does. Not like a moped scooter, like a push-along electric scooter. And he's kind of just riding through the city on that now. He then gets a voice message from Paul.
Begging forgiveness.
Apologising and begging. My note here says, hold on, it's not even 6 p.m. Why were those people clubbing? Octa then decides, well, when you're in trouble, what you should probably do is go to your mum's house.
Yeah.
So he goes to his mum's house, cleans himself up. He walks in through the window, because that's what this guy does. Starts cleaning himself up, goes to the antiseptic cupboard, cleans all his messes up. His mum's like, what is going on? Why are you... And he tells her I got run over, which is not a lie.
Yeah, sure.
He did get run over. 15 minutes and 38 seconds left. He decides, I need a bit of a lie down.
He kind of explains...
Yeah, he's explaining what's going on.
Not the whole story, but he's trying to sort of catch up his parents of what's going on, where he's going. And Paul calls again. And he says...
I love that he just went for a lie down at his mum's house, though. He's been
like,
so eager to get home.
Minute.
I mean, this guy is bleeding quite badly from this stab wound in his stomach now, which he's just tied up with duct tape. So he's like, I'm just going to have a bit of a kip.
I'm just going to have 2 minutes, doesn't he? Or something. And Paul rings, and this is Paul's last roll of the dice, I guess. He says, look, I've got to be honest with you, Octa. We're in trouble. The gym's... We're losing money. We've not got enough money to survive.
We have major money problems.
Yeah. And he says, it was all my idea to rig the fight. And then we see Paul, he's in a car talking on his phone. And it pans out and we see that he's being held at gunpoint by Chino.
By Chino. We haven't seen Chino for a while.
No.
But since his brother's been beat up, we've seen him again.
And he tries to find out where Octa's going.
Yes, he does.
He's like, let me know, where are you? Look, come on, we can work together.
But he also leaves a coded message in the message.
Yeah.
That lets Octa know that something isn't right, because he says, did you ever go and pick up the cat? I've come up with a good idea for a name.
Yeah.
And he says, I think you should call it Onion.
Yeah.
But they both know that that's what he was going to call it anyway. And Paul had laughed at the name earlier in the film. So Octa now knows something's not right there.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to go where I've told him I'm going to go.
Well, you see, he just says to Paul, I'm at a buddy's.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make it.
Not going to make it to Leone, so I'm not going there.
Yeah. It's too late.
His parents then give him some home truths.
I thought this was a good scene as well.
Yeah.
His dad, he has a couple of scenes, but he sort of levels with Octa, doesn't he? And he's like, you've been a shitty father.
You need to sort your life out.
Like, this could be your last chance. He said, no excuses. Don't run away. You need to be there for your daughter.
Which is fair.
And Octa says, he gets up from the sofa and it's not an argument.
No.
He says thank you.
Yeah, he's like, you're right. Thanks for letting me know.
I thought it was a really good scene.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is leave.
Yeah.
Through the window.
Yeah, sure.
To be fair, his mum says to him, we do have a door, which I thought was quite funny. 10 minutes and 7 seconds. He calls Paul. He tells him to meet me at the animal sanctuary.
Yeah, I'm going to get the cat.
And then he calls Rico, and he tells him to meet him at the animal sanctuary too.
He says, do you want to get back at Gino and that gang? I know where they're going to be.
Yes.
In a few minutes' time.
Yeah. He says, I'll call you back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
he does that,
Then it's 9 minutes and 11 seconds, and he's at the animal sanctuary. So he's got to the animal sanctuary in less than a minute.
Very close to his parents' house.
Very, very close. Almost next door to his parents' house. But the animal sanctuary is closed.
10 minutes before it should. It's supposed to be open till 6.
But it's closed early. And the guy won't let him in. The guy who works there won't let him in.
He's like, I'm not letting you pick up a cat now.
Yeah.
Because
I've got to do all the paperwork.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
It'll take us longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Come back tomorrow.
He calls Rico back and gives him the address less than a minute after he said, I'll call you in 10 minutes. And then he calls the police.
He gives them the same address.
He also gives them the address. And he says, send as many cops as you can. And then he kicks the door in of the animal sanctuary.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of minutes of him just picking up a cat.
Yeah.
So he goes to pick up this cat.
He basically says to this guy, the guy who's working out, I'm taking this cat.
Yeah, I'm taking it now. You also probably need to leave because this is going to get quite dangerous here in a minute. Chico then arrives just as Octo is leaving. Chico or Chino? Chino, sorry.
Octa says to the guy, is there a back entrance I'm going to sneak out?
Yeah.
Goes there and...
Chino's there
outside the door
with Paul at gunpoint. 4 minutes and 46. 5 minutes has passed in that animal sanctuary, and he has Paul at gunpoint.
And they march Octa and Paul out to the car park and put them. They're on their knees.
Yeah, he has them both at gunpoint, and then some gunshots ring out.
Yeah,
everybody dives for cover, and then the cops also show up. That's taken them less than a minute as well, and then Chino freaks out. So they all run into this building, don't they? So it's Chico, Chino, not Chico. It's not Chico time. Chino, Paul, and Octa together, and they all run into this building to try and
just like
get away from the gunshots.
Old factory type
And then
thing.
Chino's freaking out. He's like, I can't believe you've done this. We could have figured this out.
He's now thinking, that's it, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
You know, the police are out there.
There's another
Hells
gang
Angels
out there.
are out there.
It's all kicking off. There's gunshots flying like crazy. And he's so angry, he shoots Paul in the leg.
Yeah. Then he shoots him in the shoulder.
And Paul flies down this flight of stairs. Then, out of nowhere, because I'd completely forgotten this person even existed, Cosima just shows up.
Yeah.
She knocks the gun out of Chino's hand just as he was about to shoot Octa in the head. And then the clock ticks over to 6 p.m.
Yeah. Down to 0.
And just as it hits 0, Octa gets stabbed with a crowbar.
Yeah.
Chino stabs this crowbar into him.
I guess I was kind of like... Because Chino is not... He is not as physically imposing as any of the goons.
No, he needs
so far. But I'm kind of like... To be fair, Octa is bleeding and he's been... I'm not sure they were 100% fair on Cosima because she also seemed to struggle to fight against Chino.
She was the poor little lady who can't fight properly. She does fight though. She manages to kick Chino out a little bit. She knocks the crowbar out of his hand, but then she gets kicked off a ledge and takes the most brutal fall I've seen in a very long time. She kind of goes through this fence. I don't know what this building was.
It was like an old factory or something.
Yeah, there was like a 2-story fall. Yeah. But as she falls, she hits the first story as well and flips over. Yeah. I was like, she's definitely not surviving that. She is dead.
And again, Octa sees this and he goes nuts again, like he did in the bakery.
Sees red again, starts fighting Chino some more. Cosima, though, is fine. She seemingly just gets straight up.
But by this point, sort of Octa and Chino can barely stand.
Yeah, they're both fighting,
swinging nothing.
Yeah, Paul fires the gun that he's managed to climb back up the stairs. He fell down. He fires the gun at Chino but misses, and Chino runs away. He's like, I'm not getting involved in a gunfight. Yeah. I'm out of here. So he runs away. Cosima climbs back up the 2 stories that she fell down.
She tells them that she'd been following Paul the whole time, who had been following Octa.
Yeah. And they all kind of wrap their arms around each other and get up. Paul says she can have a 25% raise. She only asked for 20. Octa don't forget the cat was there the whole time in a box. So he checks on the cat to make sure that's all right. And then the clock thing ticks on the screen and it's 4 minutes past 6. Yeah. So we're 4 minutes over time now. Then he's at like a cafe.
He's limping.
He's limping.
Barely moving, to be fair. He's not making good time, Octa. No. And there's a cafe on
so
route
he has a bit of a drink and he puts the cat down for a minute, just has a bit of a rest. And Chino walks up to him.
Around the corner.
From around the corner. I'm like, where do these guys keep coming from?
We're like, oh, we're going to have one last fight.
No, I've written one last fight with Chino and then I put nope, because Chino just collapses at his feet. Yeah. He just literally falls on his face. And Octa turns to the cafe and goes, you're going to want to call the police. Yeah. And just leaves. He goes into the bathroom of this place and kind of cleans himself up because he doesn't want to turn up at Leonie's covered in blood. So he cleans himself up again.
Well, a bit less covered in blood.
But he can't get rid of all of it. And then we can see in the distance, he's kind of walking along the street.
Housing estate.
Yeah, towards Leonie's house. And he's very slowly now. He's very gingerly. Remember, he's been stabbed twice. And also beaten up countless times. And he doesn't quite make it. He gets just over the road and he collapses.
Yeah, he's on like the pathway leading to their building.
He drops the cat box, falls to the floor, and he just kind of lies in the street. And he got so close but didn't quite make it. And then Leonie sees him.
Yeah, the door opens.
The door opens of the house. She kind of sees him in the street. She kind of hugs him, lies on the floor with him.
He says, happy birthday.
He says, happy birthday. Then Mina comes out. She sees her ex-husband and her daughter lying in a pile in the street and just was like, oh, that's cute. And then she sees the cat and she's like, oh, that's cute. And she picks this cat up. Yeah. And that seemingly just makes her think, oh, forget everything I've ever said.
And Leonie says to her, Octa, do you want to come inside? And he's just like, I'm comfy here.
Yeah, let's just lie here for a bit. Paul comes out and Mina's like, piss off, we're not doing this custody thing anymore. Not Paul, David.
Yeah.
We're not doing this custody thing anymore. Because
she's like, just let them.
See that pile of humans over there? That's made my heart sink. And they just lie in the street together. And
we just pan out on them
lying there
on the floor.
And that is where the movie ends. And it's not only where the movie ends, the movie has no credits at the end.
No.
It just flicks back to your Netflix menu There's literally no credits at the end of this movie. I don't think I've ever seen it before. It's really strange. And and that's the end of the movie. What do you think, Nick?
Mixed bag.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Is it fun?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a heck of a lot of fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
It's never boring. It's exciting all the way through.
I also feel, though, that a movie, in essence, this simple, shouldn't be so confusing.
There's a lot going on that makes no sense whatsoever.
Maybe it's a me problem. I was so put off for the first 15 minutes of like, why are these people doing these things at this time?
Yeah.
Why is this all happening at once?
The times of the day make no sense, and there's no need for them to be there. You do not ever need to mention that it's 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
It doesn't. Yeah, and
by doing that, it really confuses the audience.
The absolute arbitrariness of his ex-wife saying, "If you're not here by 6, you're never seeing your daughter again.
Yeah,
this is your last chance."
You can take all the problems with this movie away by her saying, "If you're not here in an hour, I'm taking your daughter away." If you never say what time it is, it's not confusing anymore. But the fact that this fight was going to happen at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, and then he gets to a nightclub and that's full of people before 6 p.m. It's all very strange. Yeah,
because the whole thing falls apart when...
we never meet the Russian woman again. She just gave up on her $500,000 she lost.
In the real world, it'd just be like, well, got this fight. I've had this fight booked for months.
Yeah.
But because they need the whole convenience of like, oh, this fight's come out of nowhere. So now where he was going to go to his daughter's birthday party, he suddenly might not get that.
Yeah.
And it's like... But...
They do say a couple of times in the film that the fight's been delayed through the day. So the fight should have been earlier in the day. Which, again, makes no sense. But that, I guess he probably realised he would have had enough time had the fight been okay.
But
overall...
It is fun. There's some really good fight scenes in there. Nothing that I would say is tremendously innovative.
No.
But
they are
well done.
The Raid martial arts movie is not that. It's just people kicking and punching each other.
What I was most pleasantly surprised about is there are this few pockets within this movie where there's actually some good acting.
Yeah.
Like, I think we pulled a couple of those out. A couple of scenes with Paul and Okta, when Okta's with his parents, I was actually like, there's some talent here.
Yeah.
In the acting wise and the physical fighting that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think I don't have a problem with any of the casting. I think everyone does really well with what they've got. The performances are good. I think he's a really good leading man.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
And there's a lot to like about it, but you have got to leave your brain.
Oh yeah, completely. You can't
at the door.
You cannot think about this movie at all. But a movie like this has to be fun.
Yeah,
and I think this is fun.
It is fun.
I was never bored of it. It moved at such a high speed. I really enjoyed this film, and it isn't the sort of film that I would normally sit and watch.
And there are times where you'll laugh and go, well, "That's preposterous."
Preposterous.
But
there are, and
it doesn't take away from the overall experience.
I don't think so. I think genuinely,
it's just that first 15 minutes, I was very discombobulated about it's all very confusing. Setup is more confusing than it needs to be.
Yeah, it really is. It's very strange. Unless anybody knows that MMA fights in Germany happen at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. If that's the case, then I'll forgive this film.
Maybe it was a public holiday.
Maybe it was.
Maybe we could have had a line like that to that effect somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, I did have fun.
I did as well. And it isn't my normal sort of film, so...
In fact, I might even go as far as, and I'm not saying this reflects my opinion of the stream table as a whole, which we'll get onto in a minute. But in terms of sheer out and out fun, it might be the most fun movie we've seen this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that. I don't think I could argue that. But definitely not.
Which might make the placement interesting. Yes. But
we'll come to that.
It is just fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brainless.
It's a Saturday night pizza and a Magnum movie, as we call them on this show. What's the best thing about it?
I think
it's that. I think it's they successfully have made this movie fun. Because it's quite easy to make this movie boring. We've seen... I
did like the fight scene in the gym.
Yeah, the fight scene in the gym was great. The fight scene in the bakery was great.
And the
nightclub bit was just bizarre.
Yeah, you've got... That's the whole sort of chasing through the nightclub with the neon. And that was my expectations of this going in.
Yes.
But and there is those little bonus few pockets of actually there's a good scene in there where you got to do a bit of acting as well.
What would you change?
I think you've got to shit or get off the pot with the real time gimmick.
Yeah, it doesn't hold. Most real time movies don't hold up anyway, but this one doesn't.
They've got my take on it is they've gone for it. They've gone to try and take this hour in an hour, and that works to an extent because it's an hour of Octa's time, but none of the things happening around him make sense. Like we said, there's always someone at the end of the road.
Yeah.
Chasing him, even if he's had a head start of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just because that's convenient. The police come out of nowhere.
Yeah, they try to explain it by telling you that Paul knows where he is at all times. But that still doesn't make people magically appear. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make people magically appear. It held up pretty well until the last 10 minutes of the real-time segment, I think. When
I don't think you need to try and do it in real time. You can still have you've got an hour to get there. But
you don't need to do it in real time. He left his mum's and instantly was at the animal sanctuary. Yeah. And then the cops turned up within a minute with a full SWAT team, armed officers, armed response. And I was like, you've kind of thrown this away a little bit towards the end. Yeah. Could have forgiven it the other 50 minutes of real timeness, but not that last 10. Yeah, so you're right. Shit or get off the pot is a great way of saying it. Right, shall we talk stream table? I feel like this is going to be an interesting conversation. Do you want me to read through the whole thing?
Sure.
So currently at number 8 in the stream table and bottom is Riptide. At number 7 is Hard Feelings. At number 6 is Hypnotic. At number 5 is Sundogs. At number 4 is Bubble. At number 3 is Finder's Fee. At number 2 is The Girl in the Yellow Jumper. And currently at number 1 is The Call. I think this is an interesting conversation to have here.
So I will. Do you want me to start us off?
Yeah.
So I think what we said previously is that we've got 3 movies. At the top where we perceive that actually they've been fun, we've enjoyed them, and then you've probably got a bit of a gap.
Yes.
So I would now postulate we now have 4 movies.
Yes.
that I have enjoyed and I'm actively promoting.
Yeah.
So therefore, this has to go in the top 4.
Yes, 100%.
I really think it's open for debate then, depending on what mood you're in, what are we calling it on. I have a good idea of where I would suggest it.
I have an idea of where I'd like the conversation to go. Do you want me to say it?
Go on.
I think we have to have a conversation about whether this is the best or second best film.
Really?
Yeah.
You're loads higher than me. I'm really surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised as well. I thought you'd be up there with me on that. What are you saying then?
I was more like, is it 3rd or 4th?
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting because I thought this is right in Nick's wheelhouse.
Yeah, and no, I don't think I liked it less than you.
No, I don't think you did. That is really interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's better than Finder's Fee.
It's more fun than Finder's Fee. I just think Finder's Fee has got I feel like I'm going to have a soft spot for Finder's Fee because it's so weird.
It's just a little
of its
quirky
time,
curio, yeah.
with all these very famous people in, and I don't understand why it exists.
Yeah.
And it's really memorable. And they were the 2 I was flipping between. Because I've really enjoyed them both for entirely different reasons. So in my mind, before we started this conversation, I was kind of like, yeah, this is 3rd or 4th.
Okay, that's interesting.
But I'm not against this going 2nd.
I think that takes away the fact it doesn't go top now because if you were at 4th, you can't then go to 1.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm not against it. I'm not against it going higher than the girl.
So the girl in the yellow jumper is our sticking point. It's not even a sticking point; it's a conversation, isn't it?
Because there's loads to like about that.
There is, and that again is such a weird little curiosity that it's like.
It's a real trier.
It is, and it's a film nobody's ever heard of. Nobody knows it's out there, and it actually is a really good film.
Yeah, but flawed.
Yeah, but flawed. All these movies are flawed.
So we think we're second. We don't think it's. We're not challenging the call.
The fact that you didn't come in at the top says that we can't. I
had not even considered this being top of the stream. I'll be honest with you. That's why I'm surprised at you.
I thought this conversation was going to go the complete opposite way. I thought you were going to come in and go, it's definitely top, job done. And then I was going to go, we need to have the conversation about it. So the fact you haven't done that has kind of thrown me off a little bit. So,
yeah, my initial gut feeling was third or fourth. That's where I was.
As much as I really like the girl in the yellow jumper, I think this might be a little bit better.
It's more fun. 100%.
Yeah, but the girl in the yellow jumper is not trying to be fun.
No.
It's a serial killer.
I've got no problem with this going second. None whatsoever.
Yeah?
It's
for me, it is. I think for me, it's the second best film of the season. I would have had that conversation with you about it being top as well, but I don't think we can do that now.
I hadn't considered it as being better than
so that's fair.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
2 wild cards at the top of the table.
Wow.
But Ross Cook has failed to get to the number 1 spot.
Oh, dear. Robin the randomizer needs to up her game.
He really does, doesn't he? Cool. Okay, 60 minutes. Second in the stream table. Okay. Talking of Robin the randomizer, shall we bring him out?
Yes.
So you've had your action movie. What do you want to watch, Nick?
I want a drama.
A drama?
Yeah.
I'm going to press the button.
Move me.
Move me. I'm going to press the button. Are you ready?
Yes.
He has picked us a movie called Bloody New Year.
Okay.
Ever heard of it?
I absolutely have not.
Okay. Oh, okay. Bloody New Year was released in the year 1987.
Wow. Okay, we're going retro.
This is our semi-regular British comedy horror 80s movie that we've done a few times now.
Okay.
According to IMDb, it's a comedy horror mystery sci-fi movie. Would you like a synopsis?
I really would.
A group of friends take refuge in an island hotel that is decorated for New Year's. The problem is, it's early summer, and soon enough, even the wolves themselves are striking out against them.
It sounds like it's right.
It sounds
up our
prime bottom of the stream.
Up our stream.
4.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Let me see if I recognise any names in it.
Now we're talking.
I do not recognise any names in it.
Even better.
I do not recognise the director. This is going to be a really weird little film. 80s films are really hit and miss, aren't they? They're either great or not great.
Well, it's going to be another sort of, how the hell has this ended up on Netflix?
It is. It's going to be another one of them. So yeah, go out and watch Bloody New Year. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram and Letterboxd. Our username is @BOTS_podcast. If you want to drop us an email, our email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com, and our website is bottomofthestream.com. On there, for £5 every month, you will get early access to episodes. You will get the occasional bonus episode. You will get exclusive membership to our exclusive Discord area. And if you come, and you will also get a wild card, which means you can do what Ross has just done. Pick a film for us to watch. If you pick the best one of the season, you will win a prize. Unfortunately, Ross does not win that prize this season. You may also get a little secret gift that might be coming soon in the post.
Oh, yeah.
After you've done that, head over to Discord. The Discord is a wonderful group full of wonderful people who will literally chat to you about anything. We do play games. We do watch along. We've got watch along coming up this Sunday.
Yes.
Which will have happened by now in this world. And yeah, Discord's just great. It's a great place. Come and join it. The Discord link is in the bottom of the show notes.
If you would be so kind, you can leave us a rating and a review anywhere you can review and rate podcasts. It really helps get the word out about our show, makes us more friends, gets us more people into the Discord, and that's what this is all about. You can find us anywhere that you can find podcasts, so places such as Podbean, Podchaser, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the big ones, all the small ones. We're there. Come and find us.
We certainly are.
And a reminder, there is a small cash prize on offer for anyone in the Discord who can correctly guess the name of my cat.
Yes. I can be purchased. I've just realised I didn't do the bit about the website and the socials because I never asked you the merch that you would buy this week. And I don't know why I've missed that because that thing just rolls off my brain every week.
We've got a
website. It's called bottomofthestream.com and you can get some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream
Bluetooth earpiece.
So I don't have that written down anywhere. It's the same thing comes out of my mouth every week, but I've just missed that whole bit. Weird. So yeah, go out and watch. What was it called? Bloody New Year.
Sure.
And then come back on Monday for the Wave, and next Thursday for the movie show.
Cheers.
Bye.